Hey everyone, welcome back to Apollo Art Analysis. This episode to be studying a piece by the established generative artist known as Dominikus, and in this episode we'll be looking at this vivid light here, as well as influences of the generative fractal realm. So let's jump right into it. So whenever you first see this work, you see, a few ordered pillars here with a vivid crystalline light within this composition. Your first impression is likely going to be one of shock or awe due to the rather surreal sight before us here. So what you'll notice, of course, one of the first things that's going to draw your eye is the impact of light and color. In the context of color, we see this kind of bluish green color making up a majority of the spatial composition with a reddish orange accent there. Of course, green and blue are going to be analogous colors, and then you add something like a red in there. It's going to contrast that so well. We see this instantly within the composition. They kind of fight for the viewer's attention within the impact of form. Another thing you're going to notice is the impact of texture here, and we see this quite clearly, right? You have this rather rough and roiling texture that makes up the form of every single piece and pillar within this composition. It catches the eye instantly and adds a bit of visual energy as well as a sense of dynamism to this display. And with this work, we have an incredible opportunity to talk about visual rhythm. What I mean by that is the kind of equal placement of each pillar within this piece here. You see a rather even placement within each one. Of course, that feels quite harmonious. It feels quite balanced within this composition, which stands in complete contrast to the kind of texture and intensity of light here. And with that in mind, of course, a definitive element of this display is going to be such intense light within this piece here. We see this instantly. It just possesses this piece with a vivid visual energy that is just impossible to miss. And of course, we see this energy across like light. We see this energy across texture and form as well. When we look at light, of course, we have that intensity of light that appears to kind of radiate from the lower regions of the composition. And then when we look at form, it's not solid. It is kind of fluid within that. And then, of course, within that, you see texture as well. So all three of those elements are giving us this incredible sense of visual energy that is so definitive to this display. And so we look at the setting of this work, it's hard to say exactly where we are. It looks like a, geometric fractal scape of one side or another. And with that in mind, you may cite elements of surrealism within this work quite easily. It feels spiritual due to the intensity of light, but it also feels incredibly surreal due to the irregularity of form, as well as the lack of any objective symbolism within this piece. And so with that in mind, what do y'all see when you view this piece? What do you think we're looking at? Or even how does this make you feel? I think those are all important questions when we're looking at this work. And so, like I said, this feels surreal in so many different ways. The piece before us is actually a piece of generative art. So it is the product of coded art in one way or another. I was looking deeper into that and I couldn't find exactly how this piece was made other than the fact that it exists within the coded art or generative art realm of expression. And we see just the incredible results of that. I actually have a few other kind of generative fractal works. I'm going to bring those in real quick, see what we can learn in comparison to this work before us. All right, so I brought in two works. Both are from Mitchell Lewis Flout. He is one of the first fractal generative artists that really caught my eye. These are two very old pieces that I decided to study a very long time ago, and I thought it would be appropriate to bring those in to compare to the work before us today. So, of course, all three instances are what we would call generative art or fractal art in one way or another, and we certainly see the result of that. It kind of has a life of its own, if you will. It has a very fluid form that kind of constructs and deconstructs itself with absolute ease. It exists quite clearly within the realm of surrealism, which is just so definitive and stunning to these scenes here. So, of course, you see the vivid impact of light and color and the irregularity of form in all three instances here. I wanted to bring those in and just compare to this work here, because it's been a really long time since I've seen some kind of amazing fractal generative art, and I absolutely love all of these pieces, especially compared to Dominikus' latest study here. So yeah, I really love those insights. I absolutely love fractal generative art. It is psychedelic in one of the best ways possible, right? It has that irregularity of form that is so fluid and it just morphs and gives a life of its own. So it's just absolutely stunning there. Really hope y'all enjoyed today. We talked about so many different things, from the impact of visual energy to the impact of this intensity of light, everything from a harmonious visual rhythm to the impact of texture, color, and so many different things, all the way up to surrealism. So like I said, really hope y'all enjoyed today. If y'all enjoyed today's episode, go check out the original artist Dominikus doing some amazing stuff in the world of coded or generative art. Like I said, if y'all enjoyed this work, go check out the original artist. My name is Apollo. This was Apollo Art Analysis, and I'll see y'all on the next episode. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to support our work directly, please check out our Apollo community tokens. Apollo Art Exchange is an ecosystem of art appreciation which elevates artists each and every day. Thanks for listening.